Thank you. Thank you, Council Member. Ready? Ready? Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the October 16, 2025 regular meeting of the Finance and Risk Management Committee, FRMC, of the San Diego Community Power. I am Vita Yamani, Chair of the FRMC, representing the City of National City. We welcome members of the public, community power staff, and committee members joining us in person at the City of Chula Vista Council Chambers. I now call the FRMC meeting to order. Ms. Sandra, please call the roll.
Director Insunza.
I'm here.
Vice Chair Suzuki. Here. Chair Yamani.
Here.
No quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Let us all stand up, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Next, we acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the land of the original inhabitants of the Greater San Diego region. A land acknowledgement is a critical step toward working with Native communities to create meaningful partnerships and inclusion in the stewardship and protection of their cultural resources and homelands. Let's take a moment to honor these ancestral grounds that were the traditional lands of the Kumeyaay. Thank you. Are there any items to be added, withdrawn, or reordered on the agenda? Madam Secretary?
There are none, Madam Chair.
There's none, thank you. Non-agenda public comment. We will now take up non-agenda public comments. Any written public comments submitted before the FRMC meeting were emailed to committee members prior to the meeting and will be posted on the website. Madam Secretary, do we have any non-agenda public comment?
Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to the consent calendar items. Items 1, 2, 3. 1, approve September 18, 2025 meeting minutes. 2, approve 2026 Finance and Risk Management FRMC Committee meeting schedule. And 3, recommend board approval of non-material revisions to fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget, the fiscal year 2025-2026 capital budget, and the fiscal year 2026 to 2030 capital investment plan. Do any members of this committee wish to pull consent calendar items?
I would like to pull number 2 of the consent calendar.
Thank you. Vice Chair, Madam Secretary, we're pulling item 2, approve 2026 Finance and Risk Management FRMC Committee meeting schedule. We have 2 items in the agenda, in the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on the consent calendars, Madam Secretary?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have to take up on item number 2. Vice Chair?
Vote on numbers 1 and 3 first.
Oh, sorry. I am so sorry. Thank you, Council. Let us vote.
Director Insunza.
Yes.
Vice Chair Suzuki. Yes. Chair Yamani.
Aye.
Motion carried, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thanks, Council. Now, let's go to item number 2. Vice Chair Suzuki, would you clarify why we pull this, please?
Yeah, I pulled number 2 so that we could review and rethink whether we want to meet at 3 versus 4, just for personal our employment reasons. It's harder for me to get here at 3 when I have hearings. If I have a hearing in the afternoon at 1:45, or sometimes it's even just hard to disrupt your work day. And if we could do it at 4, I feel like we could easily be done by 5. There are rarely any FRMC meetings that have gone past 45 minutes, really. So it would be great to do it at 4. And I know that if Director Nzinza would be able to check on the availability, it would be great. But that's the reason I'm pulling it so that we could check on whether we could actually have it here at City Hall in Chula Vista, or if not, we could even have it at an alternative location.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Director Nzinza?
I'm willing to second that if it continues to be in Chula Vista. Otherwise, we all run into the same problem of going to Pacific Highway or anywhere else. I think if we keep it at 4 here, is that a good compromise?
Yes. So,
Yeah, she has to accept the amendment.
Well, okay. So here's the issue. If it's at 4 here, I don't have a problem. Actually, I'm fine with driving here. What I do have a problem with is if we can't do it here at 4, then we revert back to 3, and that was the whole issue of. So I guess my question is, if we can't do it here, then are you willing to drive somewhere else? Maybe La Mesa.
he will make sure that this is available, right? Director?
I say we do it one step at a time.
Okay.
Can we? Can we just do one step at a time, first check the availability?
Okay. So, okay. So, council, there is that, maybe you have to make it into a motion, Vice Chair, for your request to move it from a 3 to a 4, and then check on availability of the location. So then we get, and if the seconder would amend his second as well.
Okay, so that seems like there are 2 motions, and can we do that 2 in 1?
I would just do one motion, just
Yeah.
direct it back to staff to check for.
Okay. Okay, so I'm moving to direct number 2 back to staff regarding the FRMC meeting schedule to check on the availability for City Hall here in Chula Vista at 4 o'clock instead of the 3 o'clock that it's been.
Second.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second. Did you get the item, Madam Secretary?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments?
No, I think that would work out. Otherwise, it was beyond that, then I'm gonna have conflicts with my kids and all that kind of fun stuff.
Okay.
That's what my schedule out. But the clock here works very good, and let's go from there and see what happens. Thank you.
We always make it happen.
We always make it happen.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
So much, Director.
Thank you,
So
guys.
we have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Nzinza,
Yes.
Director Suzuki,
Aye.
Chair Yamani,
Aye.
motion carries, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moving forward to our regular agenda items, item number 4, fiscal year end 2024-2025 financial audit progress report presentation. Dr. Eric Washington, Chief Financial Officer, Treasurer, Killen Gilbert, and Launa Rico with Soren, who are joining us online, will present this item. Sandra, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do have a hand raised, but I don't believe it's a public comment, is it? Let me confirm. We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. If so, I defer to you, Dr. Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, directors, members of the public and staff. We are receiving a presentation from our audit team in alignment with the requirement under our JPA. We're required to have an annual audit conducted by an independent audit firm. As the treasurer, I'm also responsible as the auditor, internal auditor, with the support of the audit team. So the audit team joining us this afternoon are going to present to the Finance and Risk Management Committee, who also serves as the audit committee, just a receive and file item to give us an update on the progress of our fiscal year in 2025 audit. So with that, I will turn it over to our audit team, Kellen Gilbert and Alana Rico, who are joining us online. So I'll pass it off to you. Thank you.
Apologies, I'm not sure. Can you see me?
No, we're not able to see you on the screen.
I think I need to get promoted to a panelist.
Give us a moment to confirm.
Rejoining is best.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
We can see you now. Thank you.
Fantastic. If you can jump to the next slide, please. So just a brief introduction of myself and the team. As mentioned, my name is Kellen Gilbert. I am the lead audit partner on the engagement, and I am the new audit partner on the engagement, taking over for Mr. Brett Bradford, who retired a few months ago, who was my mentor for the past 17 years at formerly Pacini & Brinker and now Sorin. I do have familiarity with your financial statements, as I was our engagement quality control reviewer for the past few financial statements, meaning that I've been reading the financial statements and providing my feedback as part of our quality control process. I have over 17 years of public accounting experience, mostly in the government entity, and I am the lead audit partner on multiple CCAs throughout California. Alana Rico is our senior associate on the engagement. She has over 4 years of public accounting experience and 3 years working on CCAs. Next slide, please. And I just want to talk a little bit about the transition from Pacini & Brinker to Sorin. So in May of this year, we combined practices with about 20 other firms of approximately our size throughout the United States to rebrand as one unified firm, Sorin. We felt like this gave us a local feel, or able to maintain a local feel of a mid-sized firm while giving us the resources of a larger firm, which we thought would be invaluable going forward in tackling investments in technology, specifically artificial intelligence and other challenges in the accounting realm. And we also thought that this would give us a better advantage in investing in our people and our clients. So now the new rebranded Sorin, we are officially a top 50 firm with about 1,000 employees. And most importantly, my clients always want to know, what does this mean for us? And I'm happy to say that the Santa Rosa office will continue to be the lead office on the engagement. There's no changes in our contract. There's no changes in our costs. There's no change in the timing of the service. And there are no changes with the engagement team other than myself. Next slide, please. So at this point, we are nearing completion of the audit. We anticipate issuing on time at the end of the month. And we anticipate issuing an unmodified opinion, which is a clean audit opinion. And that means that we believe the financial statements are materially accurate in our opinion. And we are not anticipating issuing any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control. So that is the highest level opinion that we can provide. And again, essentially a clean audit opinion. Next slide, please. I always like to start with this slide towards the beginning of my presentation, just because I think it's such an important aspect of the auditor realm that is often mistaken by the general public. And so I just like to refresh everybody on the relative roles and responsibilities between management and the auditor. Management is responsible for the financial statements. They're management's product. All the underlying accounting information, all the transactions, that's all part of management's responsibility. And they are also responsible for establishing and maintaining a system of internal controls over financial reporting to ensure the accuracy of the financial statements. The auditor's responsibility is to provide an opinion on the accuracy of those financial statements. We do that through what's called a risk-based audit approach, and we consider the risk of material misstatement due to fraud or error, and we consider internal controls relevant to the financial statements. and we then perform tests of year-end balances, analytical procedures, confirmations, and other auditing techniques to then ultimately conclude at our audit opinion. Also very important, we read and evaluate the adequacy of the footnote disclosures within the financial statements for accuracy. Next slide, please. So just a very, very brief understanding of our risk assessment procedure. We obtain an understanding of the operating characteristics, practices, and procedures. We review your internal accounting policies and perform walkthroughs of those processes to ensure what is documented is actually matching up with the procedures as we're viewing them. And lastly, we really want to look closely at those material internal controls over significant transaction cycles to make sure that they're in place. Next slide, please. And this is a list of significant areas of the audit. This is not meant to be a complete list, but just to give you an idea of some of the procedures that we perform. Revenue recognition and accounts receivable, that's always a significant focus of an audit. We take a sampling of customer billings and test those for accuracy, occurrence, and existence. We review total cash received during the year and compare it to total revenue. And then we also review revenue transactions throughout the year to make sure that revenue is being consistently recognized. And we're looking for, again, consistency, making sure that revenue is not being recognized in different processes throughout the year and not just focusing on year end. Cash investments are always an important part of the financial statements and important to any organization. It's relatively easy to audit as we send confirmations directly to third-party financial institutions to confirm the valuation and existence of those balances. And accrued cost of electricity is very important. It's a sizable liability. What we test for is completeness. We want to make sure that all the expenses that should be recorded prior to year end are in fact captured in this fiscal year. And so we review disbursements made subsequent to year end to trace those to underlying invoices to make sure that, again, all those liabilities are correctly recorded in the appropriate period. And last but not least is, again, the financial statement footnote disclosures. We want to read those, make sure that all the disclosures that should be there are present and that they are complete and without bias. Next slide, please. This is a list of required communications. I do want to note with this first bullet, there were no material changes to existing accounting policies, but you did adopt several new GASB pronouncements, GASB 102 through 104. They, however, did not have a material impact on the financial statements. There was no alternate treatments for accounting principles for material items for the financial statements. Specifically, there were no items that, perhaps there was lack of authoritative guidance or were unusual in nature that were challenging. Again, there was no items like that we noted. We're not proposing any audit adjustments to the financial statements. And there were no disagreements with management, or we did not have any difficulties with management. Precisely the opposite. We like to thank management for making this an efficient audit and providing us access to a full range of information that we requested to complete our audit. And I think that's the end of the presentation. So I'm happy to discuss any questions related to the presentation or to the financial statements or where we're at in the process, anything that you'd like to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Directors, any comment or questions to our auditor?
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Mr. Gilbert, you mentioned that part of the audit is where you test a sample of customer billings. And how do you determine what that sample is?
Excuse me, we use an audit approach that factors in the risks that we've designated for the specific financial statement line item, as well as other techniques that we use, such as analytical procedures. So all those items get combined into a sampling risk form, which then will use our materiality to then spit out a number of samples that we need to do to obtain a tolerable risk factor. I know that's a really wonky accountant answer, but I don't know how else to explain it. But it's a mathematical formula based off of risk inputs.
So does that mean that there's a list of qualities that a customer may have, and then so that would maybe land them into that sample, or?
No, that's a great question. So we're required to have every item within the sample to have a chance of being selected. So we actually don't look at specific characteristics of underlying transactions. We want to have a unbiased sample when we're selecting those. So it's really a haphazard process. We do look at considering characteristics of customers more when we're evaluating the allowance for doubtful accounts and procedures over revenue from that perspective. But when we're just taking a sample of customer billings, we don't want to be biased to be looking at maybe customers with a lesser history of payment or things like that. It's really a haphazard kind of a blind sample.
Thank you.
It's wonky. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Congratulations to the merge. Now you have a bigger and stronger organization that would deliver the services that Dr. Washington requires. I appreciate the continued the values that you live by in doing this, in delivering this audit. This is my third year, and I know that you were the second in command from your mentor then, so I'm sure that you are very familiar with our documentations and with the very watchful eyes of Dr. Washington and the accounting department. Tim is here as well, so thank you so much for that. I don't have any other comment or question. Dr. Washington, do you have any comment or question?
No, Madam Chair, just to thank Mr. Gilbert and Ms. Rico for joining us for the presentation. And this item is a receiving file item presentation.
Madam Chair, do not have any public comment about this item.
Thank you so much. So we don't have a public comment. Thank you, Dr. Washington. We move on to our next agenda item, which is Treasurer's Report for period ending July 31st, 2025. Dr. Eric Washington, Chief Financial Officer, Treasurer, will present this item. Ms. Sandra, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not, Madam Chair.
Okay, I defer to you, Dr. Washington.
Thank you again, Madam Chair and Directors. As stated, I'll be presenting seeking a recommendation from this committee to the board to receive and file the Treasurer's Report for the period ending July 31st, 2025. Happy to report that we are 1 month into our fiscal year 2026 cycle. We ended the period with a change in net position of just under $22 million compared to what we budgeted at $18.7 million. So we are actually over budget on our net position for the 1 month period of our 2026 fiscal cycle. We accounted for $123 million in expenses compared to what we budgeted for $133 million. So we are just over $10 million under budget in terms of expenses, which is favorable for Community Power. However, I did want to point out that our net revenue position came in slightly under budget to the tune of about 4.7%. And the delta there was associated with lower than budgeted demand in terms of energy, given the cooler than expected weather that we experienced during the summer. So we are tracking well with regard to our budget just 1 month in, and the hope would be that we would continue along that trajectory throughout the balance of the fiscal year 2026 cycle. Next slide, please. So in terms of the metrics that we typically follow, we ended the position, as I mentioned, with about $22 million contribution to our reserve for the period. Our reserves for the period included both cash and investments to the tune of $89.6 million in cash and investments. So you heard from our investment advisor at our last meeting with the quarterly update. Our investments are doing fairly well in the market, and they continue to contribute to our reserve build. When we look at our access to total liquidity, we factor in availability under our $250 million line of credit, which gives us a liquidity position of $617 million. I would note that we have a limit of $250 million, but a portion of that is allocated to support outstanding standby letters of credit that we have to post for various reasons. But we actually have zero outstanding on that credit facility. In terms of our reserve bill cash perspective, looking at days cash in hand, we are about 78% toward that reserve bill. Next slide, please. This slide, again, it factors in days cash on hand from a pure unrestricted cash investment perspective, and then days access of liquidity of 223 days cash on hand. Next slide, please. So happy to report that we continue to retain a high participation rate across all 7 of our jurisdictions, with an average of about 96%. So we're retaining our customers thanks to the efforts of our staff, customer service team, as well as the commitment from our constituents and our customers throughout our service territory. I would note, next slide, please. That concludes the presentation, Madam Chair, but I would note that during that period, also in the Treasurer's report, we track contracts that are within the purview of our Chief Executive Officer's signing authority. So we're required to report out on those contracts. So for the period through July, there were 2 contracts that were signed, one contract of $75.5 million and the other of 75.5 thousand, not millions, and also a contract to the tune of $100,000, both within the signing authority granted to our Chief Executive Officer by the Board of Directors. Madam Chair, that concludes the presentation. I will pass back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. Thank you so much. Directors, do you have any comment on this? No, I don't have any comment. This is a receive and file item. So the recommendation is to receive and file Treasurer's report for period ending July 31st, 2025. Moving on, we'll now go to item number 6, recommend board adoption of resolution approving a 3rd revision to the financial reserves policy. Mr. Jeb Spengler, Senior Strategic Finance Manager, will present this item. Ms. Sandra, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not manage.
Not. Mr. Spengler, it's your floor, sir.
Thank you, Chair Umani, members of the committee. Jeb Spengler with San Diego Community Power and the Senior Strategic Finance Manager, part of the financial reserves policy and a number of these other policies that have been coming to you over the last couple of weeks or months even. A lot of those fall under my purview. And this will be the first update to the financial reserves policy of at least 1 or 2 additional updates that we'll bring to you over the coming months. Just laying the groundwork. We're doing a great deal of work behind our reserves, and not to steal the punchline later, but we'll have a much more thorough and comprehensive update to our reserves policy down the road. This is a very specific update that I'll provide more information on here in just a moment. By way of background, we had the financial reserves policy in place for a number of reasons, mostly just to set ourselves a goal or a target for a number that's required to meet our strategic objectives. There's a number of other reasons that are actually in the policy itself, one of which is to secure, maintain, or improve a credit rating. We don't currently have a public credit rating outstanding. That's another part of our overall financial picture that we'll be bringing to you over the next coming months. Hopefully, we will be able to present a public credit rating to you all in the next, I'll just say 3 to 6 months. Having reserves on hand and having essentially a future public credit rating that's in the investment grade category provides us much more favorable terms for structuring energy contracts. It lowers our costs, lowers our fees in a number of different areas where we have contracts in place. And we can point to us being a very secure creditor from that standpoint. And just other factors, including future rates, state rate stability, being able to use reserves to potentially buy down rates if we hit a rough, turbulent period. There's just a number of reasons why we would use reserves. So this financial reserves policy really identifies those uses. Next slide, please. This is just a background of the reserve policy itself and how it came into formation. The initial reserve policy was adopted in June of 21 with some additional analysis and insight. I think we set our first kind of reserve policy delegating conditions for the use of those reserves in 2022. Additional analysis as we grew and we had all of our member communities come on board. The further revisions, including an update to the 180 days cash on hand target that we're currently targeting. That was adopted in June of 24. Today, as I mentioned, is going to be a very specific 1 line item update that we're presenting. And then, as I mentioned earlier, in probably the first quarter of 2026, we'll come back to you with a very comprehensive, which will have much more detailed analysis as well as updates to the policy overall. Next slide, please. Finally, this one update that we're presenting to you today is essentially just an update to the definition of days cash on hand. Our reserve policy specifies that our reserves target is considered our net position. But when you look at what our days cash on hand calculation is, the current calculation is unrestricted cash and cash equivalents multiplied by 365 divided by operating expenses. So what you'll notice in the days cash on hand current definition is that it doesn't include our investments. We currently have 80 some odd million in investments at our Chandler account that was presented at the last meeting. We're looking at potentially providing more to the investment portfolio through the use of another update that we presented to you in the form of LAIF, which is the local agency investment fund. That has a maximum of 75 million. We've determined that you could potentially earn approximately 200 basis points more through this LAIF investment than our current money market, which gives us an opportunity to earn approximately $125,000 extra a month towards meeting our reserve targets. So we're updating this just so that we're kind of cleaning up the days cash on hand metric so that we can include anything additional that we put forth towards either the LAIF investment or our investment account so that that number actually can be officially included within our reserve target of 180 days. That is the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Spangler. Any comments from the board, the directors?
Thank you.
No, thank you. I don't have, I was well briefed by Dr. Washington yesterday. Thank you so much. This item is this is a recommendation from the board adoption of resolution approving a third revision to the financial reserve policy. If there are no comments or questions, I would entertain a motion.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. There is a motion and a second. No other comments. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Insunza,
Yes.
Vice Chair Suzuki,
Aye.
Chair Yamani,
Aye.
motion carries, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Are there any committee member announcements?
Yes.
Go ahead, Director.
I want to announce that I'm proud that the city of Chula Vista, that we did unanimously approve the battery storage in West Chula Vista. And I really want to commend Wellhead for their commitments, their philanthropic efforts. I think close to $200,000 in helping our local community nonprofits in our schools and literacy programs. So that's their dedication to helping this community. And I'm also very proud that they work hand in hand with the building trades and IBW to make sure the building of it and the sustainable management and maintenance be retained by these labor unions. And it's those type of cooperations and the staff from Community Power and Wellhead working together with our city to ensure that all the stakeholders are involved. And I also want to commend Councilmember Cesar Fernandez for a number of meetings he had to ensure this progress was made correctly in his own council district. I support it. So that's what I have to say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That's good news, Councilmember. Director, that's good news. Thank you. Vice Chair, any comment? Nothing. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I appreciate everyone's participation today. The next regular FRMC meeting will be held on Thursday, November 13, 2025, pending the research or the time and the venue. However, November 13 at the court, not yet, right? We're still we're gonna know what time and where we're gonna be by November 13, the next meeting. Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you so much. It is, what time is it?